Hi. Good afternoon again for everyone, physical students as well as online students. So this is our third day. Yeah, this is our third day of the class. So I think now you are confident with the syllabus. The first lesson is almost like finished, no? So are you happy now? Right. So, first lesson, there's not big things we discuss. Major thing in the first lesson is the characteristics of living organisms. Few definitions are there. You have to study the characteristics and few definitions, and little bit about sustainable food production and the problems in biology and how do we arise using biological. How do we address these problems using biology knowledge? Those things are discussed there. So today we are going to our new lesson, Unit 2, Chemical and Cellular Basis of Life. This lesson, as I told you several times, this lesson is extremely important, and this lesson is kind of making your knowledge for the next lessons. For example, this lesson is important for your Unit 7. Molecular biology and recombinant DNA technology, and also to the other lessons also this knowledge is important, so that we will be going from the ground level with the necessary knowledge. So we will be doing lot of practices, lot of questions will be done in order to give this fully to you guys. So make sure that you will study each and every day after the class and keep them memorized, right? Right. So in this lesson, what we are discussing is mainly about water and the essential elements. And also we will be discussing about important biomolecules, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. And thereafter, we are going to discuss about microscopes a little, and then about cellular organelles and cellular structures. And after that, we will be going to mitosis and meiosis, cellular divisions, and photosynthesis, respiration processes. So two important processes in the plants and animals. So we will be discussing those things. The lesson is very interesting, but data you have to remember very well. As I told you, this is the foundation of your biology knowledge. For each and every course that you are doing after A levels also, this part is necessary. If let's say you are going to do medicine, still this is necessary. This is mostly biochemistry, right? And if you are doing biological science, still this is necessary. Let's say you are going to nursing and those field areas, this is a must. And if you are going to do research, and if you are going to do genetics and environment biology, those things also, these basic knowledge are necessary. So that it's kind of an extremely important lesson, and also good percentage of questions are also coming to the exam, right? So firstly, today we are going to discuss about essential elements. You know that there are several elements in the periodic table, but still there are only a few naturally occurring elements, like 96. They are naturally occurring elements, right? Among that, not every element is needed for animals and plants. Only some elements, only few elements out of the elements that we discuss in the periodic table is necessary for the continuation of life. So the essential elements are the elements which are necessary for reproduction and continuation of life. So we call them as essential elements. Essential elements we can divide into essential elements in plants and animals, right? Don't write anything. And essential elements in animals, essential elements in plants. And essential elements in animals, some of the elements are required in large quantities. In animals, we call them as macronutrients or macro elements. Alright? First of all, settle down, darling. We can find out which tubes are there and everything. I'll tell what tube to take also. Just keep the tubes away and just listen. Okay? So micro elements are the ones which are needed in minute quantities. Micronutrients are also called as what? Trace elements. Then this side, again plants also they have macro elements and micro elements. So we are writing it also here. Needed in large quantities. Write the charts. I'll add the elements in a while. Healthy life and reproduction. I'm changing the definition a little. Hi Situmi, are you a newcomer? Hi, listen now. I'll write the macro. You have to write at the place itself. Since I don't have space, I'll be writing it somewhere. By writing this level, I'll erase some and write so that you can see. Are you done with writing? Write and finish first, then I'll erase some parts and add those. Meanwhile, I'll add macro and micronutrients in plants. Plants, there are 17 essential elements. Among that, CHON, that means carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, potassium, sulfur, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, magnesium. You're familiar with the symbols now? Doing chemistry now? Right. There are 9 macronutrients in plants. So there should be 8 micronutrients in plants. Neither. Others, is it visible? If it is not, just let me know. Online students. Chlorine, manganese, boron, iron, zinc, copper, nickel, molybdenum. Can I erase this side, the blue color things? Hi. Animals, about 20 elements are essential. C, there are 11 macronutrients. CHON, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chlorine, sodium. Then cobalt, copper, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, iodine, zinc, iron, chlorine, iodine. If anything is not clear, please ask. Write down. Let's go to the questions given there in the tute. Can you all go to the tute? If anyone don't have the tute, please send me a personal message. Only this tute will be provided. Make sure that you will collect the other rest of the tutes from the class. Alright, let's go to the space provided. You have to write this there also again. Go home and do that. Okay. What's the first question coming up? About what other? Alright. Before that, I have to go to the writing book and talk about few things which is there in the book. Asking the order, right? All right. First question is asking what are the most abundant four elements found in living matter in the correct order. What is the most abundant element? It's oxygen. The correct order is OCHN. OCHN. Right? Did you write the answer there? Right. What is the percentage? They are forming 96% of the living matter. Write the percentage too. By this question also closer to that question. Do you have space available? If you want, you can take the space above. Now you wrote it in the writing book now. Take space and write this question too. Name the four elements which make 4% of the living matter. That one I'll give later. This one not trace elements. I'm giving an additional question here. If you want, you can write in the above space because we wrote the chart there in the writing book now. Who don't have the tute? Those who joined today, if you don't have the tute, you can talk to me. What are the elements? Calcium, phosphorus, potassium. What is the other one? Sulfur. Calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur. Hi. Next, telling give some examples of trace elements found in the human body. You can get from the chart that we wrote and write the answer there. In the book, they have given another list of trace elements. It's commonly taken in plant, animal, microorganisms. Altogether, that list is different from our list. Okay. Are you done? Take a little time and study the two questions and the chart. So, we will be discussing about physical and chemical properties of water, which is important for life. So, you had a lesson in little grades, no? Which grade? Is that grade 6? 7th? Had. Like time to time you had, no? I know. Right. So, I'm going to give you kind of a Montessori question. My question is, write the uses of water. Write as much as possible in your writing book. Write the uses of water. Not one or two, write many. The upper part of the board may be shining. What I have written here is physical and chemical properties of water important for life. Take a little time and write the uses of water as much as possible. How many uses you wrote? How many uses? More than 10? Tell me one by one. I'll make a list here. Number one. Number one, drinking. Number two, bathing. Right. How? Washing purposes. Yes. Transportation mode. Yes, true. Electricity. How? Hmm. What else? Mm-hmm. It's providing a habitat for certain organisms. Cultivation purposes, okay. Growth and development processes. Agriculture, let's say. You also can actively participate to the conversation online, students. I'm looking at your answers also. What else? Hmm? Right. Uh, we can say that uh, temperature, that means you can prevent from overheating, no? How do we write it? Moderate temperature. Not only animals, you know what, vehicle engines also, you are putting water to control the temperature. And have you heard that water is taken for cutting purposes also? High pressure water can cut even metals. Also, in some cases, we'll be using it as for decorative purposes, decorations, some gardens and all that. For decorations also, we are using water, no? Hari, what else? Making food. How? What else? Someone put it? Mm-hmm. Transportation, okay. And dissolving substances. What else? How? If you haven't written, you can add those also. What else? Hmm? Some factories, machineries also needed now. Industries and for games. Yes, some games you use water. What else? Is that all? So anyhow, we discuss many uses now. So these uses of water are coming due to important properties which are there in water. There's a lot of properties in water, physical and chemical properties, which are helping them to give these all uses, right? We are learning four important properties and why we are discussing why water is important, and four physical properties of water and chemical nature of the water molecule will be discussed in this lesson. Kind of an interesting lesson, and also we will be writing our very first essay on the next date. So as I promised you, I at the beginning also I promised you that I will be practicing essay questions from the beginning. You won't believe that now this time A-level examinations, children who are having 41, 42, 43, still having C passes. Why is that? They haven't done well in the second paper, meaning that they have not practiced. Even an essay is kind of a practice. So if you are writing only, you can write the answers at the examination paper. So some children are failed to write the answers, and also precise answers are needed according to the wordings in the resource book. If the wordings are not there, especially in the structured essay, marks are cut. So that we are practicing lot of questions. You have seen my tute. In that tute, I have given as structured essay format always, and also as I told you, next week onwards, we will be writing more essays, so that we will be writing the same thing several times. Sometimes you may feel it a burden at the beginning. You know what, this teacher is giving so many essays and writing a lot. My hand is also paining. Right? But still, if you start from the beginning, at the end, you will never tell that your hand is paining. You are always ready for four essays, which is given in the biggest exam paper, right? I'm erasing this one. You all are done with this now. Water is important for living organisms due to two reasons. And number one, it's a vital chemical constituent of living cells. That is one reason why it is important. Number two, acting as a biological medium for all organisms. That means all these metabolic activities that occur in us, they are using water as a medium. If the water is not there, we can't do these activities. You know, majority of us is also made up of water, no? So we can't live on earth also if water is not there. Earth is habitable because liquid water is here, right? So what is that much important? For that, these two are also important. Write the answer for the first question asked there. Go to that and write the answer. Alright, shall we go to next part? Alright. So write the topic in the writing book, chemical properties of water. Chemical properties of water. Right. You know about water molecule now? It is a small molecule. Don't write anything. Small molecule. It is a polar molecule. I'll tell you why it is polar also. And also it is an angular molecule. So usually water molecule is having one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms. You will write Lewis structure like this now. And there are two lone pairs available around the oxygen molecule. You know what? These lone pairs are kind of repelling each other so that this linear molecule is now going to form an angle. That's why it is angular molecule. So usually you will write oxygen and hydrogen like this. So these bonds we call it as covalent bond, which is a strong bond. Understood? This angle is equal to 104.5 degrees angle is there. So that's why it is angular. So I'll tell you why it is called as polar. So here oxygen, hydrogen, hydrogen. This hydrogen atom is slightly positive in charge. This oxygen atom is slightly negative in charge, right? So meaning that there is some uneven charge distribution in the molecule, so that usually the more electrons are going towards the oxygen atom. So we call it is polar because of this uneven charge distribution. Understood now? So usually the electrons are moving towards this side like this. Okay? All right. Go up to this. හැම වෙලේම ඒක තමයි. ඒ කියන්නේ හැම වෙලේම මෙයා හැදෙන්නේ හයිඩ්‍රජන් and ඔක්සිජන් වලින් විතරයිනේ. ඒතර යාගේ ඇන්ගල් එක හැම වෙලේම ඒකයි. හරි. ඔයගලන් කෙමිස්ට්‍රි වල තව කියරයි කෙමිකල් බොන්ඩින් වලදී ඇන්ගල්ස් කොහමද හැදෙන්නේ, එක එක ෂේප් වලට කියන නම් මේවා තියෙනවා. හරි. ඉවරයි. ඒක එච්චර අමාරු නෑනේ. අනිත් ටෙස්ට් එක ආයෙ ලියන් එන්න ඕනේ මට. හරි පුතේ එහෙනම් ගිහින් එන්න. පොලක් කම්බේ. එදුර තාමත් මේකේ අවුට් යන එක තියෙනවා පුතේ. අහන්නේ රෝල් එකනේ. එයා කරන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. ඔයා මෙයා ගැන විස්තර ලියලා හරියන්නේ නෑනේ. නේද? ප්‍රශ්නේ තේරුන්නේ නැද්ද තාමත්? මේ ඔයා ඒකේ ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එක ඩිස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරලා තියෙන. ක්වෙස්චන් යන පැටර්න් එකක් අපි දැනගන්න. ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එක ඇහුවොත් ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එක ඩිස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරන්නේ. ෆන්ක්ෂන් එක අහන ෆන්ක්ෂන් එක. හරිද? ඒක ගෙදරකින් ආයෙ බලන්න. මෙතන ඉඳන් හරි role එක නෙහානේ function role here liver එක functions දෙකක් කරන එකක් homeostatic functions and other function is digestion functions. the digestion related functions ටික ඔය ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ lesson එකේ ගාවම තියෙන ඒ ටික තමයි ලියවෙන්න ඕන. හරි? okay පොඩ්ඩක් තනිනවා I think. මේ ප්‍රශ්න තේරුම් ගන්න එකත් එක කොටසක් හොඳ. චුට්ටක් දැන් කමන්නේ දැන් ඉන්නවනේ මේකේ ඉස්සලා past papers පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න පටන් ගන්න හොඳ. උත්තර ආවෙල තියෙන මොනවද කියලා ඒකට ගිහින් බලලා මේ පැත්ත හරි. එතන තමයි පොඩ්ඩක් අවුට් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? ඔයා මෙතන කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒ ටිකනේ තියෙන්නේ. මෙතන මේ ටික හරි. මේ ටිකෙන් තමයි ප්‍රශ්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි? ඒක ඔයාලට වෙලා යන්නේ වැඩවලට. අහන එක නෙමෙයි ලියන්න. හරි? ඕකේ. හදා ගන්න ඒ ටික. හරි. ඉතින් ඉන්න God bless you. Now go to the tute, everyone. We are going to write about the chemical nature of water molecule from the things that we discussed, and we will be coming to more as well in next. Number 1, small molecule. I'm talking about the question number 4. Describe the chemical structure of the water molecule. Cut the structure part and write the chemical nature. Chemical nature of water molecule. Number 1, small molecule. Number 1, small molecule. Alright. Number 2, polar molecule. Polar molecule. Number 3, angular molecule. Next one, number 4, made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Next one, chemical formula is, how do we write? H2O. Chemical formula is H2O. Oxygen atom is slightly negatively charged. Oxygen atom is slightly negatively charged. Next one, hydrogen atoms are slightly positively charged. Next one, polarity is due to uneven charge distribution. Polarity is due to uneven charge distribution within the molecule. Polarity is due to uneven charge distribution within the molecule. Water molecule forms an angle of what is the angle? 104.4. 104.4. And if you are talking about chemical nature of water molecule, there is the important bond formed between hydrogen bonds, that is called in between the water molecules, that is called hydrogen bond, that is also important, right? Listen, listen. Hi. One water molecule is there. It has slightly polar oxygen atom, slightly negative, slightly polar hydrogen atom is there. And here is the adjacent water molecule. Again, it is also having slightly negative oxygen atom, slightly positive hydrogen atoms here. In between these positive and negative charges, there is the interaction going to build. This interaction is kind of a weak interaction compared to the covalent bond, but it is having some strong nature. This bond, we call it as hydrogen bond. Understood? Hydrogen bond. Draw this nicely in the writing book. Right. So how it is formed? How this hydrogen bonds form? Huh? Don't write anything. Just listen. How it is being formed? This is formed between. This is a weak interaction. It formed between slightly polar, but oxygen atom of one water molecule with what? Slightly polar hydrogen atom of the adjacent water molecule. Right. Let's go to the question asking about the hydrogen bond formation. Go to question number 6. What is the nature of the hydrogen bonds? Let's put a slash and right there to the same question, how it is formed. How it is formed. And write this definition there. Hari, done Putih? Finish? Hari. Now we are going to talk about the 4 important properties, physical properties of water. Firstly, we will be writing the properties and just studying, and then I'll explain one by one. Number 1. Number 1, we call it as cohesive behavior. I'll explain what it is later. Number 2, ability to moderate temperature. Number 3, expansion upon freezing. Correct? Number 4, versatility as a solvent. Go to the question number 5, I guess, no? Above at the page. Write the answer and study now itself all these 4. I'll be asking one by one. Okay? Study. Hi. I'm erasing this and asking from you one by one. Online students also be ready. Hi. Who is ready? Ready? Tell. Hi. Ready? Tell really number. Good. Hi. Good. Good. Right. Online students, are you ready? Patulima, turn on the mic and tell. S type. Sumaldi, are you ready? Oh, are you ready? Else we assume that you guys are sleeping at home. So quickly tell. Means they are sleeping now. Right. Okay. I'll be continuing with the lesson. So we are discussing first the cohesive behavior of. Hari, it's okay. You can type. That's fine. Hari. Cohesive behavior. Under that, we will be learning about two important forces of water. Number one, cohesive forces. I'll explain what it is. Think that there's one water molecule. Think this is the water molecule. Okay, this is one water molecule and it's going to touch another water molecule and form an interaction. What are the bonds formed here? Hydrogen bonds. So water molecules attracted to other water molecules, we call it as cohesive force. Because of this, you know what? The water can go as a liquid, continuous liquid. That means, you know, have you seen that when the mercury is filled, small droplets are going here and there. That means they are not going together. Now, but when you spill water, or they are always collected together. So that is because of these cohesive forces, right? So cohesive forces are interactions between water and water molecules. Harrier, it's okay. Something wrong in the settings. Okay, it's okay. You can type. Don't worry. I was just kidding. Hmm. We call them as cohesive forces. Then the other type of force is adhesive forces. So adhesive forces is something like this. There's one water molecule. Water molecule is going to touch a wall or something called something which is support. They are touching the support and going upwards. So usually in the xylem and phloem, the things water is transported usually using these two forces. Water is going as a one single column because of cohesive forces, and the water is going upwards by touching the xylem vessel walls. Right? Understood now? So adhesive forces are attractions between water molecules and other substances. Alright, go to the tutor and write the answers at the relevant places. Alright, are you all done? Go to the writing book and write this one there and come. Due to cohesive forces, water can move as a single column. Adhesive forces, this helps in upward movement of water in xylem. Water molecules attract to the walls of the xylem vessels and move upwards. So for the xylem transportation, transduction, you will need both adhesive and cohesive forces. At that sentence 2, for xylem transduction, both adhesive and cohesive forces are needed. That part okay? හරිද? Right. Then we are going to talk about another important property of water which has arisen due to cohesive forces. Water has a high surface tension. Compared to the other liquid, water has high surface tension. Usually, if you put water in a container, you'll see that the water is making its meniscus like this. Always it's trying to reduce the surface area and allowing it to act as a thin film without breaking by minimizing the surface area on the surface. This is due to high surface tension. So this property has come due to cohesive forces because it can interact with each other and it can make a single continuous film of water. This is helpful in certain animals which we call them as water skaters. Have you seen water skaters? Water skaters? Animals who are walking on the surface of water, little animals, tiny like insects which are walking on the water without sinking. Those are, one type is water skaters. These are walking on the surface without sinking because of this high surface tension of water. Any liquid has surface tension, but water is amazingly having high surface tension. It is not too high. If it is too high, what will happen? It's something like honey, that they have too much of surface tension now, so the insect will be forever attached to the surface. It can't walk. This is kind of a like moderate amount which can walk on the surface, no? Isn't it? Hi. Asking next question about that name. Yes, I'm coming to question number 9. You know the answer for question number 9. Can you guys tell me what's the answer for that one? What are the forces involved in conduction of water and substances in the xylem and phloem tissue? Adhesive forces and cohesive forces. Write that and come to the next question. Alright, next one is asking what is meant by surface tension. I am giving a definition, but remember very well, nobody would ask you to define what is surface tension, okay? Alright, right there. The tension of the surface film, the tension of the surface film of a liquid caused by the attraction of particles in the surface layer of the liquid which tends to minimize tends to minimize the surface area. Right. 11th asking what is the use of having high surface tension in water? The animals such as water skaters can walk on the surface of the water without sinking. No? Animals such as water skaters T-E-R-S, it should be T-E. What is skaters? Harda? Right. Before we go into the next one, I'll give you a little time to go through what we discussed about cohesive behavior of water. Study now itself and finish it off. Harda, shall we go to the next one? Number 2 is the ability to moderate temperature. Correct? Ability to moderate temperature. This is also possible because of two other properties in water. Number 1, high specific heat capacity, or else we can say high heat capacity of water. Alright. Number 2, high heat of vaporization. Alright. Any liquid, any matter is having a heat capacity and heat of vaporization, but compared to the other liquids, what is having high heat of vaporization and high heat capacity, right? Okay, so I'll explain what is the meaning of heat capacity. If you take 1 kilogram of a substance, if you give heat to increase the temperature of this 1 kilogram of a substance, the amount of heat that you need to give to increase the temperature by 1 Kelvin, joules per kilogram per Kelvin is the unit for this one, right? So you can understand, if you keep let's say a volatile substance like alcohol 1 kg and water 1 kg, which one you will need to give more energy to heat increase the temperature by 1 Kelvin? Water. So that's the meaning of high heat capacity. Understood now? Here it is, to evaporate 1 gram of substance, what is the amount of that you need to give? What is the heat amount that you need to give? Evaporate 1 gram. So usually if you compare again with alcohol and water, you will need to give less energy to increase the temperature of to vaporize this ethanol, no, isn't it? If you take water, it will take a lot of time and it will take a lot of heat to evaporate a little amount. Understood now? Let's define these two in the writing book and come. Right there. Heat capacity. Heat capacity. There should be high specific heat. Both ways we are writing, but this is a better term, right? Right? Wait. Write the definition there. The amount of heat that should be given, the amount of heat that should be given to increase the temperature of a substance, 1 kilogram of substance, let's say, to increase the temperature of 1 kilogram of a substance by 1 Kelvin. Unit is this, joules per kilogram per Kelvin. Next topic, heat of vaporization. This part only, don't write high. Heat of vaporization. The amount of heat energy needed to turn 1 gram of a liquid, 1 gram of a liquid into vapor. Alright? So I'm going to explain a little thing here. මොකද නිදිමත දවල් වෙලා නිසා අත කට්ටිය දෙන්න කට ඇරන දෙන්නගේ. මොකද නිදිමත? කම්මැලි දැසම එක. නේ? කාලා බීලා ආපු නිසා නේ. Right. අර පළවෙනි දවස් තව දරුවෝ ටිකක් හිටියන මොකෝ ඒගොල්ලෝ උනේ අඳුන කට්ටිය නෙමෙයිද? ඔයාලත් එක්ක හිටපු කට්ටිය ඔයාලත් විතරයි නේ. තව 3 දෙනෙක් එකට හිටිය එක ස්කූල් එකක නේ. ඔව් මට මතකයි. කොහෙද යාලා ස්කූල් එක කිව්වේ? මොකද එක ස්කූල් එකක් ඔක්කොමලත්. දන්නේ නැහැ මොකද උනේ කියන්නේ. බලමු. හරි. Here water has high specific heat capacity. You know what? Our body majority is made up of water, and also we are warm-blooded animals, isn't it? We are warm-blooded animals, so that we need to keep our body temperature constant despite of the environmental changes. We can't change the temperature according to the environmental change. So that water can give this property to maintain the body temperature in a constant value. Meaning that water can absorb large amount of heat from the external environment. Whatever hot the external environment is, it is absorbing and it's changing temperature a tiny amount. So that it's helpful, no? Isn't it? Because of this property, water can act as a thermal buffer. This is a new word that you will be learning. Thermal buffer. What's the meaning of thermal buffer? Have you heard about pH buffers and those things? What is the 11th question, Tervili? Did we write the answer for that? 11th? No. What's the question? 11th. Example? Oh yeah. What is the use of What is the use of having high surface tension? The answer is animals such as water skaters can walk on the surface of the water without sinking. I'm talking about thermal buffer. In the chemistry, you will be learning about pH buffer. If you are using pH 6 buffer, if you add an acid, if you add a base, the pH is not changing much. So now we are using thermal buffers in biology. What is thermal buffer? Temperature is not changing much even if the external environment is changing a lot. Right? So water can act as a thermal buffer because of this property, high specific heat capacity, meaning that water can absorb large amount of heat and changes the temperature slightly. Understood now? Hi. Then we'll talk about the other property also, that is high heat of vaporization. Because of this property, water can absorb large amount of heat from the body but evaporates a little amount. What will happen if the large amount of water is going out of the body, plant or animal body? A plant will wilt and finally the plant will die. Animals, we will dehydrate and finally we will also may die if the water is going in large quantities from our body. So that this is a nice and amazing property in water, which is helping to absorb large amount of heat from the body but evaporates a tiny amount. As sweating in the plants, it's transpiration. So it's helping to cool the plant body as well as it is preventing overheating the body. So this property is important in this. Okay, understood now? Alright, let's go to the questions from that section. Right, write the answer for question number 12. What properties of water are helpful in maintaining the body temperature? Thermal buffer. Okay. What are the two properties? High specific heat capacity and high heat of vaporization. Right, next one. Okay, right, go to the writing book. We are going to define thermal buffer and those things. And we need to write few sentences also there. Right, right there. Due to high specific heat capacity of water, due to high specific heat capacity of water, water can absorb or release relatively high amounts of heat energy relatively high amounts of heat energy without getting affected by the temperature of the external environment. The temperature of the external environment. Harda. Due to the next point, due to this property, water can act as a thermal buffer thermal buffer in living systems and aquatic bodies during the temperature fluctuations on Earth. During the temperature fluctuations on Earth. Hi. Right then, this property is more helpful in warm-blooded animals such as aves and mammalia. To maintain the body temperature within a constant range. Harda. Next. Water has high heat of vaporization. Right there. Due to this, water can absorb large amount of heat energy. Water can absorb large amount of heat energy and evaporates little amount from the body. In other words, with the minimum loss of water, an organism can release much heat energy. This helps organisms to cool their body surfaces. Right? Example, sweating in animals. And transpiration in plants. Next point, this prevents plant and animal bodies from overheating. This prevents plant and animal bodies from overheating. Hadapute? Right, now I'll give little time to go through what we discussed so far. Remember, under each and specific property only you have to remember their use or function, right? Okay, now read and study quickly. Can't take a lot of time. So I'm going to the next property. What is that? Expansion upon breathing. Hi. When ice is going to form, that means like liquid water turning into ice, it's forming a crystalline lattice. What do we call as a lattice? So here it is water molecule. They will move apart from each other. They will be forming a structure like styrofoam or rigiform that is having more spaces in between. Are the, you know, density equation? Density is equals to hmm, mass over volume. Then what is going to happen? The volume is going to get increased. When the volume is increased, if the mass is not changing, what will happen to the density? Density decreases. So remember very well, ice is having less density than water. So that ice should float on the surface of the liquid water. So if I explain this with a graph, this is what is different from other liquids. I'll take two graphs over here. It's given in your tutor also. One is temperature this side. Here it is again temperature. Here it is the density. Here it is volume. Right? So if you decrease the temperature little by little, the water is increasing its density. It has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Thereafter, its density reduces. Albert, volume graph comes the other way around. So it comes something like this. 4 degrees only, it has the least volume. Are you understood? So other liquids usually if you take ඉදිමතයිද මොකද ඉදිමත ඈ මොකෝ මම ඉතින් ඔන්න මෙතනින් මම නිදාගෙන ඉන්නවනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉදිමතයි කීතයි I was walking here and they are talking actively. What is this man? හරි I know the time is bad. Agree. හරි what I was telling here is usually if you take oil, coconut oil, it's sometimes if you cool it, it will become condensed now. So usually have you seen it is floating or it's sinking the solid part? What have you seen? When it is raised, it's going down usually, no? So remember very well, whenever the whatever the other liquids other than water, when you reduce the temperature, the density increases and it sinks. But amazingly, the water is having something different from the other liquids. After 4 degrees Celsius, the density again decreases. So that ice is floating on the liquid water. Do you agree? All right. Go to the book and draw the crystalline lattice structure. Here having hydrogen bonds in between. If you want, you can draw more. Let's go to the questions from this section. Asking what is meant by anomalous expansion of water. So here it is right there. This is an abnormal property of water. This is an abnormal property of water compared to other liquids. Compared to other liquids. Generally, an increase in temperature in any substances reduces their density. On the other hand, decrease in temperature increases their density. Take another color and write. But when the temperature of water falls below 4 degrees Celsius, it begins to freeze and form crystalline lattice structure. It begins to freeze and form crystalline lattice structure. Water has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Water has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Therefore, solid ice floats on liquid water. Right. So now tell me why this property is important. When liquid water is there under the ice, always these aquatic animals in the polar regions during winter season, they will be survived. Otherwise, if whole body is freezed, everyone would die. But this is giving an amazing chance for them to survive during the winter season. Let's go to the question there. There's a question here. If water helps to prevent from overheating, what happens to the animals and plants in deserted areas? Still, they also have water in their body, even if you can't see, the water is there. Okay? They have lot of adaptations to conserve water. Whatever the tiny amount they have, they will try to conserve. Right? Okay? Sometimes there are other substances are also broken down to take water. You know what? When the polymers such as carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, when they are broken into their monomers, what is released, right? That is also taken. Hi, right there. 14th answer, how this property of water helps in living beings. This property is helpful for organisms that live in that live in polar regions during winter season. I'm adding one thing, live in aquatic bodies. That live in aquatic bodies. And because there is liquid water under solid ice. There's liquid water under solid ice. Yeah, that's the reason, no? Should I continue, Nane? Each gives a meaning, no? Right. Okay, no? Alright. Now we'll give little time to go through that section before I move to the last section. Versatility as a solvent. Study now this one. Hello. Hello. I forgot to tell something about hydrogen bonds in the liquid. In the liquids, hydrogen bonds are frequently broken and reformed, right? They are very fragile, right? Quickly broken and reformed. Hmm. Right. What is the last property? Versatility as a solvent. This property is there for water due to the polar nature of the water molecule, right? Due to polarity. Due to polarity, there are different types of substances usually dissolved in water. The common thing to dissolve is polar molecules. Alright, we can say an example, glucose. Then number 2, ionic molecules. Example, sodium chloride is dissolved in water. Number 3, molecules with both polar and ionic groups. Alright. Both polar and ionic groups are there. Alright. So example, lysozyme. What is lysozyme? It's an enzyme which is found in our saliva, tears. So this is also dissolving water. Got it? Right. Let's discuss how the water molecules are dissolving ionic substances. These sodium and chloride ions are separated, and sodium ion is a cation, which is a small positive ion. Chloride ions are usually larger anions, right? So always plus minus are interacted, no? So the minus side of the oxygen molecule is interacted to the sodium. So this is surrounded, that is called dissolution. This is surrounded by water molecules. So this is dissolved now. Alright? So what happens to the chloride ion? Hmm? Here minus plus things interacted. So this side the water molecule will be oriented. Do you agree? Alright, go to the writing book and write everything what I wrote on the book, on the board. Try the topic also, versatility as a solvent. Alright, shall we go to the questions from that? Alright. Right. I'm going to 15th question. What chemical property of water is helpful for the solubility of substances in water? Polarity. Next one. What are the groups of chemicals which can dissolve in water? Number 1, polar molecules. Number 2, ionic compounds. We can say better to write ionic compounds, molecules also, okay, but compounds is better because it's not a single one. No, compound, ionic compounds. Then molecules with both polar and ionic regions. Ionic regions. Right. What is the reason for substances to dissolve in water? The reason why, as I told you, water molecules are surrounding each solute molecules and forming bonds there, right? Right there. Number 17. Water molecules surround each solute molecules and form hydrogen bonds with them. Now I'm going to give 5 to 10 minutes to study the entire thing that we discuss about water. Water lesson is over. That means finished by today. But next week, as I told you, we will be writing our first essay. Bring more papers and I'll be marking it in the class itself, and we'll finalize the essay and write it properly. Take little time and study now. Now the time is enough. I'll be asking few questions from you. Ready? Mm, what force is helping for water to having high surface tension? Cohesive forces. And what forces of water is helpful for the water skaters to walk on the water? Cohesive forces. What are the two forces important to transport water in the xylem? Cohesive and adhesive forces. What is the name for the bond? Name for the interaction formed by two water molecules? Hydrogen bonds. What can you say about hydrogen bonds? It is attraction between slightly polar oxygen atom of one water molecule and slightly polar hydrogen atom of the adjacent water molecule. Tell me, tell me what are the two properties of water which are important for moderating the temperature? High specific heat capacity and high heat of vaporization. Among these two properties, which one is help to prevent animal and plant bodies from overheating? High heat of vaporization. Examples: sweating, transpiration in plants. And then which property is helpful in water to act as a thermal buffer? High specific heat capacity. What's the meaning of having high specific heat capacity in water? Water can absorb lot of heat and changes the temperature slightly. Then what is the temperature that water has maximum density? 4 degrees Celsius. After 4 degrees Celsius, what structure is formed? Crystalline lattice structure of water is formed. So water has less density of water because it has high volume now, right? So how this property is helpful in organisms? Aquatic animals living in water bodies can survive during winter seasons in polar region. And then what property of water is helpful to dissolve substances? Polarity. What kind of substances are dissolved in water? Polar molecules, ionic molecules. Hari, good, good, good. Right, so we'll discuss more on the next day and get ready for the essay questions as well. Tell me whether you understood the lesson properly. Study well and come right and practice a lot, and then we'll meet on next day. So good afternoon everyone, have a nice day. Christo, you were there at the beginning. Why were you absent in the middle of the class? Are you a newcomer? Do you have the tutor with you? Okay, see you guys. Bye.